Hi, I'm Tiffany Craig from Continuum Counseling Services in Columbia, Maryland, and this is another Mental Health Minute. Today is our first installation on the Relationships 101 series. This is a primer for creating and sustaining healthy enough relationships. So today's topic is going to be conflicts. The number one rule of conflicts is have them. No, seriously, have them. Now, sometimes that scares people because when they think of conflict, they think of blow-ups, they think of times where they've hurt others or been hurt by others, where things have felt completely spun out of control, and they think that that's what conflict is. The reality is, conflict is just when one person's way of thinking, being, seeing, understanding, bashes into somebody else's way of thinking, being, understanding, etc. That does not have to be a negative thing. And in fact, if you're going to have close relationships, it's imperative. It has to happen. It's how we get to know each other better, and it's how we get to know ourselves better and to grow in that relationship. So I'm going to help, I promise. I'm not going to leave you hanging out there. Don't just fight, because this isn't about fighting. This is about actually working out conflicts. So I want you to just sort of hold that frame in mind. We're talking about conflicts, not explosions. And people will avoid conflict because they're afraid of explosion. But the reality is, if you're avoiding an explosion by not having a conflict, you're still having the conflict, but you're carrying the whole thing inside of yourself, which is really bad for your blood pressure, really bad for your relationship. It will create distance in that relationship. You have an opportunity when you have a conflict with somebody, an opportunity to learn and to grow. So I want to give you some basic tools that will help you to do those conflicts in a way that's healthy, that feeds the relationship instead of hurting it, okay? So with any issue, basically you have your knowledge, your assumptions, and your perceptions, and somebody else has another set of knowledge and assumptions and perceptions. We tend to get lost in this idea that there's a right and a wrong, and the purpose of having the conflict is to prove that we're right. So I'd like to suggest that we need to shift the goal of the conflict, okay? The conflict is not about winning. The conflict is not about being right. Your number one goal in a conflict is to first hear the other person and then be heard by the other person. Now catch the order. Hear and understand the other person, and then be heard and understood by the other person. And if you're both doing that, there's a much better chance and hope that you're going to be able to come to a better place together. When you stop trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong, and just try to understand how this looks to the other person, and then communicate as best you can how it looks to you. What you need to do from there will sort of rise to the top and make it self-evident. Essentially, the main point that I want you to get today is that shift in idea of what the conflict is about, okay? The conflict is not about proving how angry you are. The conflict is not proving how unjust a situation was. The conflict, even if those things are definitely elements of it, what's more important than any of those things is whether or not the other person sees and hears and understands your experience of the thing, which requires you to understand the other person's experience of the thing. There's a proverb that says a man's gift makes way for him. And I always look at that in terms of it's like a gift exchange in a relationship. If I give the gift of empathy and understanding and care, I am much more likely to get it back. Okay, so rule number one of conflicts, have them. And let's shift the goal in what we're doing in a conflict. We're not going to avoid a conflict by, trying to avoid an explosion. And we're not going to go into it trying to prove that we're right. We're going to go into it trying to come to a better place in the relationship together, where you're both as honest as possible, as candid as possible, and as open as possible to the other person's experience. That's today's Mental Health Minute. In our next video, we will start laying out the plan for how we can accomplish that goal. So until then, take good care.
Let's face it, sometimes life is just hard. The good news is you don't have to go through it alone. We all hit different bumps and challenges along the way, and I'm here to help you. So go to my website, www.mypeace.co. That's www.mypeace.co, not com, C-O. I do mean that. And click on the Contact Tiffany button. Let's talk. You can send me an email, you can text me, you can call me, either way. But let's figure out how we can get you moving from surviving to thriving. As the great Maya Angelou once wrote, surviving is important, but thriving is elegant. So let's thrive. I'll talk to you soon.